Fixing every roller coaster at Six Flags St. Louis. I will be grading all my fixes with likely, maybe, unlikely, and not going to happen. Starting off with Screamin Eagle. Screamin Eagle is an old PTC wooden roller coaster. It was once the fastest and longest roller coaster in the world. Nowadays, it is quite rough and could use a complete retrack. Retracking is a thing that is done almost every year on wooden roller coasters, just typically not the entire track. So, overall, I'll give this a medium possibility. Next up is Rookie Racer. Rookie Racer is a Vekoma family roller coaster built in 2023. It has no real flaws except for its queue line. Its queue line could use more shade, as most of the queue line is not shaded. Adding more shade to the queue line is unlikely, as most of the other coasters in the park also don't have shaded queue lines. Moving on to American Thunder. American Thunder is a GCI wooden roller coaster that is pretty smooth and has a really good layout. I think it could use more theming. The ride is no theming whatsoever other than its main entrance and its trains. The ride getting any additional theming is extremely unlikely, as Six Flags notoriously does not theme its roller coasters. So this fix will be going in the not going to happen category. Next up is the Ninja. The Ninja is an old Vekoma/Aero relocated looping roller coaster. The Ninja is very rough and could use some reprofiling. However, mainly, I think it really needs new trains. The current over-the-shoulder restraints it has are extremely uncomfortable and cause lots of headbanging. So, I'll give this a medium possibility, as it could happen, but it might not. Next up is River King Mine Train. River King Mine Train is an old era mine train that is a staple to the park. The River King Mine Train has a good layout and with good Gs, but it is looking a little worse for the wear, so a good repaint should significantly improve the ride. Because the ride is a staple at the park, it is unlikely that they will just leave it there in terrible condition. So a repaint is pretty likely over the course of the future. Maybe not the immediate future, but it likely will happen. So this is a likely rating. Next up is Pandemonium. I couldn't find a good video of Pandemonium, so we're going to use this Batman chain lift. Pandemonium is a Gerstlauer spinning coaster. The ride spins a lot, but I think there's one thing that could greatly improve the ride, and it's probably the most outlandish of the fixes in this video. I think the ride could benefit from two different types of spinning cars, one that has you facing outwards and one that has you facing inwards. Currently, it only has a one that's facing inwards. Them getting new trains to the ride is extremely unlikely, as there'd be no point in doing so. To the park size, at least. So this fix will be going in, definitely not going to happen. Next up is the Batman. The Batman is a B&M invert coaster that is a copied layout across multiple Six Flags parks. The Batman is really intense and has a really good layout. The ride, however, has been getting rough over the past couple of years, and I think a complete retrack should help the ride. Completely retracking a B&M invert is not unheard of, as Nemesis at Alton Towers has already gone through this. However, this is Six Flags, and Six Flags doesn't like to do things like expensive retrackings, so this is unlikely. Next up is the Boomerang. The Boomerang is a Vekoma Boomerang originally built in 1986 and relocated to the park in 2013. The Boomerang is not themed because it's Six Flags and they don't theme rides that have basically no value. And the best fix for this ride would probably be just to remove it, but Six Flags isn't going to do that because St. Louis doesn't get new rides often. But I think this ride could just use a new chain and the second lift, as the ride catches really, really hard, and if the chain had smaller gaps in between the connecting ports, it would be, not ports, but like connecting things, it would be significantly better ride experience. But that is not going to happen, so that's going to be not going to happen category. Next up is the Boss. The Boss is a CCI wooden roller coaster that is quite rough and it is very intense. This year, the ride is already receiving a Titan Track retrack for some portions of the ride. Don't know which portions of the ride, but overall, I'd say this ride just needs Titan Track all around. But that probably won't happen, so that's going to be unlikely. Next up is Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is a Premier Rides LIM launch coaster. It launches you backwards at 70 miles an hour, then through the layout, and then you go up a vertical spike and go back through the layout. The ride is pretty smooth and has good intensity. However, the paint is chipping away and it's pretty visible. Though I would say the number one fix for this ride would probably be converting it from LIM launching technology to LSM launching technology, as Six Flags likely won't keep it around long if it still uses the ILMs because they use a lot more power. But that is probably not going to happen, as Six Flags will more likely remove the ride than change its launching technology. So that is going to go in the not going to happen. Thank you for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe.